Hi, and welcome to the Ruby Heart Live with Soul Level Astrologer Mark Borax. We are pleased to be delving into the sign associated with passion today. So I hope you all have your most favorite compulsions on tap so that we can explore them in a beautiful way and insert some love there. And a couple of announcements before we dig in. I really want to give my gratitude to all of you that have been watching these live streams. It's been so beautiful to see our different channels growing, and especially those of you that are watching on Rumble. Thanks for spreading the word, and please click subscribe below. That will help us be able to continue to have these live streams be seen. And whether you're watching on LinkedIn or Facebook or any of these different channels, please go ahead and subscribe, because that helps us in the whole way of making these things work well. And let's see. Oh, please pre-order the book. So we are here in the final stages of this birthing, and we're really excited that the Ruby Heart of the Dragon book is going to be available very soon. So if you haven't pre-ordered, please go ahead and pre-order that book at therubyheartofthedragon.com. So without further ado, I would love to turn it over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Marcella, and welcome everybody to the Ruby Heart weekly live stream. Today, we're entering the realm of Scorpio, down to the soul, the passion that frees. A lot of people have many preconceptions about the sign of Scorpio. It's the one sign that as soon as you mention that word to a lot of people, they kind of make the sign of the cross as if to keep the vampire away. And I think this has a lot to do with the traditional astrological associations with the sign of sex and death. And these are two subjects that very few people in Western civilization have fully come to terms with. And so they project a lot of their disowned feelings about sex and about death onto this one poor sign, and in many ways completely contort it and misunderstand it. Because it turns out that the most loving sign of all is Scorpio. It's just that it's the kind of love that you can't get to without digging through the shadow. And so the disowned contents of your own nature, the inner wounds and distortions that get projected, denied, and disowned, is the zone that you have to dig down through in order to get to the love. And therefore, the journey of Scorpio is the journey down and in through everything that nobody wants to look at in order to arrive in the soul. And this isn't just a one-time only journey. It's a lifelong journey to continue to challenge yourself, to question your assumptions, to question the stories that you've inherited, and the ways of being, the ideas, the patterns, the fears, the desires. And since this is a zone that only a small percentage of all the people alive have really dealt with, a lot of that disowned contents get shoveled onto this one poor sign of the zodiac. And usually when people think that they're talking about Scorpio, they're really only talking about their own disowned shadow. In the almost 40 years that I've been working astrology, many Scorpios have come to me for a reading cringing and tiptoeing along the edge of the walls of my house, the way cats will when they're afraid of somebody, and sort of sinking into the chair with the trembling fear that I'm going to do what a lot of astrologers do to them, which is completely misunderstand them. I, however, have a deep love and affinity for Scorpio, possibly because I have 4 planets in Scorpio, even though I'm not a Scorpio. I'm a Libra, but I have 4 planets in Scorpio. And to me, Scorpio is the most trustworthy sign, because if you can go all the way down into what's unbearable and still stay clear and grounded and focused and in a state of self-love, then very little outside distortions and coercions and seductions are going to ever take you over, because you've gone through the Scorpio initiation. It takes a particular kind of a passion to make it that far, a passion for life, passion for existence, passion to just come alive and break through the enormous shutdown state that's taken over our species, which I feel is the reason for all these zombie TV shows, movies, and comic books that in the last 10 or 20 years have proliferated, because I think the secret message and why all those zombie stories are incredibly popular is because we've become the Walking Dead. Humanity has become a species in a trance. We're sleepwalking. And it takes a certain passion to be willing to break through that trance, because you're not going to get a lot of support for that. Most social structures, certainly most media, all mainstream media, politics, societies, families, universities, are not set up to honor the individual's passion to come alive and wake up and see through the illusion. In fact, all of those things are set up to prevent that from happening. So if you gain the passion to wake up on the soul, to come alive, to break through, rather than getting a lot of support for going in that direction, you're going to get a lot of obstruction. There's going to be a lot of walls put up. So you really need perseverance, commitment, even more than commitment, consecration and devotion to waking up, to coming alive, to finding your truth, claiming your truth, living from your soul and sticking with it, because it's going to make waves in the psychic space. Scorpio is the outlaw, the rebel, the taboo breaker, the one who isn't willing to just go along with everything, to just go along in order to get along. So when you claim that deep power of the Scorpion, that's the power to annihilate what's ever false in you. And that takes a hell of a journey, because when you decide to annihilate the false self puts up a struggle. Your shadow doesn't just say, oh, they're trying to kill me. Okay, goodbye. See you next lifetime. It usually rather strikes back with a vengeance. When you go after the shadow, when you commit to getting to a deeper truth, then the truth you've been following, you were taught to follow, most people are following, a lot of repressive forces will strike back. Just like you're a bacteria invading the body, the collective body of society will send its white blood cells to surround you and kick you out. So you will shake up energies in your greater surroundings, in your family, in your friends, in your neighborhood, or your political party, or your church, or wherever you hang out and socialize. You can't expect that a deep commitment to get to the soul is going to be supported, but the shadow, which is composed of fear and ego, is going to strike back. So it takes a repeated consecration and perseverance to feel as though you're really on track. Just like those heroic movies and books and plays where an individual wakes up to a truth that nobody else is waking up to. It's not an easy journey. You're not going to have an easy time of it. And in that respect, Scorpio is a grueling sign. It's not really a dark sign. It's a sign that is committed to battling with the darkness, to getting through the darkness. And coming at that Scorpio time of year in late October, it's also a haunted sign. Mostly what Scorpio is haunted by is everything that hasn't happened yet, all the love that should be occurring, all the times it failed to rise up and live its truth and live its love. That's what keeps Scorpio awake in the middle of the night, tossing and turning. It's a haunting by a sense that there is so much more love and truth available in this world, and the memory of how many times Scorpio failed to live up to that. And this, I think, is the common human state. It's not only specific to Scorpios. We all have all the 12 signs in us, in each of us, but in a unique blend that makes it different. Not everyone has 4 planets in Scorpio like I do, but you have some amount of Scorpio within you. And that part of each of us throughout the world is craving for something beautiful to happen, for all the people, for all the life that's gotten fragmented and separated and disjointed to come back together. Scorpio is fusion. Scorpio is hungry to fuse all the things that could benefit from joining together, like your own nature and a beautiful destiny of wholeness, love, and togetherness. The Scorpio part of you is craving to bring those two things together into one. It's a sign that is searching for a great synthesis. And it takes an inner obsession in order to stick with it that long, especially at a time that we're living in right now, which is far from the soul. Our culture has gotten broken, and the society of appearance has taken over a culture of substance. We have politics of personality rather than politics of meaning and issues. Almost nobody, at least in the United States, cares about issues. They just, everything is completely obsessed with how things look, how people talk, what they say. And these political candidates on the high national level have hired $1 million research teams to tell them, if they're going to go give a talk in Cincinnati, what are the key words they need to mention over and over, and what are the words they must absolutely not mention in Cincinnati. And then they go to give the same talk in California, and then their team rushes down and gives them the new words they're supposed to say and the ones they're not supposed to say. It's all bullshit. It has nothing to do with substance and meaning. That is the zone of Scorpio. And because life has become so insubstantial and meaningless, Scorpio's really been outlawed. And to bring the outlaw back in takes a deep honesty. Like Bob Dylan wrote in this song, Absolutely Sweet Marie, to live outside the law, you got to be honest. And I think what he was saying there was that if you're going to go along with the crowd in society, you don't need much honesty at all. You just need to go along. But if you're going to break away, if you're going to be a spiritual outlaw, you got to get super honest with yourself. You have to look into yourself and decide what counts. Where's the love? Who am I? What am I here for? What kind of world am I going to create? What am I no longer willing to stand for? And therefore, I see Scorpio as the sign of obsession. To master Scorpio is to increase your passion while decreasing your expectation. It's almost a superhuman challenge. Can you turn up the dial on your obsessiveness and turn down the dial on your attachment? As you increase passion and obsession while decreasing your attachment, because whatever you're obsessed with might not happen the way that you want it to, but that obsession gives you the fuel to break through the trance that's taken over our world and our nature. And now I'm going to check with my studio allies to see if there are comments or questions.
Oops.
You have to unmute.
I figured that out. So thank you. That was such an incredible view of Scorpio, and also just an inroad into exploring passions and our own nature. So I just want to thank you for that, and apologize to those of you that just were able to join us now. We had a technical glitch. So we'll be able to send a link in the comments for people that want to catch the first part of this live stream and are just joining us now. Along those lines of, having anxiety about the love that got missed, I'm having some anxiety about the live stream that got missed. So like I said, we'll just add a link in the comments so people can check it out if you missed the first part of the stream. Well, let's see. Are you doing that thing again? So I was really appreciating how you talked about one of the major things that gets worked within this sort of channel that you're going into is missing, or feeling the part of missing where love gets expressed. And I just wondered if you could sort of share more about how you feel that might relate to our own compulsions and passions and the impact of that.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, this theme that you're bringing up related to the sign of Scorpio, but also I think, of course, can connect with many of us, is that anxiety that comes from feeling like there's missed opportunities for love, or we haven't fully expressed our love. Those pieces feel like they do carry a certain weight to them, and it makes me wonder, how does that actually feed into this whole piece of compulsion and obsession? So I just wondered if you might want to share more about that particular topic that you wove in.
So the unoccupied channels of love, the missed opportunity.
Yeah.
How do I weave that in?
Yeah, or just if you want to share more about that, because it feels, um, I don't know, it feels, that would be my question. I would like to hear more about that.
Okay. Well, let's see. Um, love is one of those ambiguous words because it's such a big word. And so I guess to get clear about the kind of love that I'm talking about, it's a real basic primal love for life, love for existence, the passion to be alive, to to not just live life but make love to existence. And this is the craving of Scorpio. It's that there's so much more here and available, even now, even when many things are not right with the world, with society, and maybe in your own personal life, also, many things may not be right. But even at those moments, if you harness the not rightness into an energy for arrival and breakthrough, then anything that's happening that might be distorted, discouraging, despairing, anything that may be wrong, it gets transmuted by the love of the scorpion into a kind of love for existence. And scorpions are turn out to be pretty loving creatures. Some scorpions give birth to 200 live young, and they climb on their mama's back, and she carries them around and cares for them until they're old enough to care for themselves. I mean, that's a lot of love. And also, scorpions dance when they're mating. They stand up and face each other and link claws. They do this mating dance. And so I know a lot of people probably have much different views of scorpions as these creepy, deadly, horrible, awful things. But there's 2,000 kinds of scorpions because they've been around so long on the planet. They've changed many times. In terms of the historic ages of zodiac creatures, they're the eldest. Um, they're the first to walk on this planet. The scorpions were the first to crawl out of the primordial sea in the Devonian age and climb onto dry land. And so it takes us way back down your reptile brain. It needs a primal love. It's the kind of love of Scorpio isn't the love, isn't the infatuation with love's uh, icings and love's accoutrements and all the all the extras. It's a primal core baseline love for existence. Okay, so that's how I would respond to that one. It really, when we talk about Scorpio, we're talking about uh, the commitment to do away with everything that's not real, everything that's artificial, and I don't think there's been any time in human history where artificiality has taken over to the extent that it has today, to the degree that many people, millions of people, can't tell the difference between something artificial and the real McCoy, where you see this all the time in politics and on social media. Um, Thousands of people who represent millions of others people swearing that something is absolutely true when it's a total lie, and vice versa. And at a time like this, you got to go with your gut instinct, because if you're going along with what everybody says, even people that you used to respect or love or care about, if you're going to go along with what they all say as your truth, you're lost. And that's where you need a gut instinct, the instinct of the scorpion. But it needs to be mixed with that kind of primal love, that love of the mama scorpion, where when you can go deep down into your own ugliness without turning ugly, when you can stare into your own torment without getting tormented, when you can be with your own distortion without getting distorted, that's when you're gaining the love of the scorpion, the kind of love that devours the imposter self. And boy, do we need this now. We need the return of the scorpion. We need gut instinct to come back in, and it takes an obsessiveness. Because if you relax at this, it's not going to make it. There's too many artificial obstacles. There's too much seduction to lead you out of what your gut knows to be true. It takes rebelling against your social group, and this is hard for many people. They gain their security by surrounding themselves with people who have the same values, drive the same cars, live in the same houses, wear the same kind of clothes, have the same kind of marriage. And this isn't usually a conscious thing. It's usually semi-conscious. And if you wake up to realize that the people you've been hanging out with are not reflecting the deeper truth of your soul. I mean, the classic case of this is the person who's had what seems to be an incredible marriage, that the people around them are idolizing that couple, saying, look at that couple. Oh my God, I wish we could be like them. They have everything. And whereas inside that, one member of that couple is feeling just miserable and out of sorts. But every time they look at their own misery, they say, am I crazy? Why am I thinking there's something the matter with this? Am I just never going to be satisfied? Everybody around me thinks this is amazing. My parents think it's amazing. My in-laws think it's amazing. My husband thinks it's amazing. Why am I feeling something creepy? And I've had many clients in that situation. And the answer to the question is usually because your deeper truth is waking up. That's why you feel creepy. And it takes a lot of courage to stand up against your coworkers and your people you socialize with, your friends, or your mate, your partner, or your children, or your parents, to stand up and claim a deeper truth with a kind of a self-love or self-belief. We need a lot of courage in the coming months and years, because our system is broken. And the part of you that is writhing inside, the part of you who your guts are starting to twist, that's not the problem. That's the solution. Any final things? Oh, thank you for really loving my videos, Alejandra. I really love to hear that, especially now that my book is coming out and I have the first and only copy in the world in my hands. I just got it last night. I'm very psyched. I love the way it feels and the cover art. Anything more, Marcella, before we sign off? No. Wait, can't hear you.
No, just thank you so much for delving into this arena. It was really great.
Well, thank you, everyone. And join us next week for the Ruby live stream, um, when I'll be heading into the Sagittarian part of the zodiac.